welcome back to another episode of Behind the Breakthrough. I am Megan Ewing, and then you are blessed to have this amazing guest, Sharonda Harden, with me today. We have known each other.
Been a bop.
I'm not going to say how long, because some people look at us different. We've known each other a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
Sharonda is a special person to me because, one, she'll be at the conference, so of course you'll see exactly how special she is. But randomly approached me about speaking at an event, a women's event, and I'm kind of like, I can't say no, like that's what I want to do. But I never went and actually spoke in front of like a whole crowd of people.
Yeah.
But the thing about Sharonda is if she tells you or invites you to do something, you just do it. Because you always know the intentions are good. You always know she's going to put you in a good place. And she's always looking out to kind of like boost people up
Yes.
and remind them of their potential.
Let me bring y'all on. Bring y'all on. I feel like we just live in a world where I don't see enough of it.
Yes.
And then when I see something in somebody, maybe they're not able to identify it in themselves, but when I see something, it's like, hey, let me just give you the opportunity and I see what you're going to do with it. So it's kind of just like giving them the grounds. And I feel like, somewhere down the line, it's always cool because they walk into it.
Yeah.
Like they didn't see it at first, but they walk into it. And I'm like, that's okay. And I think I was texting you and I said, Megan, you came a long way from with the rolled up paper, and you're like, I hate that I say now when I watch you, I'm like, wow, you know what? I got you something because I said I wasn't gonna do it without it. I'll be back on set. I said, let me stop in real life, and give you your flowers because you were so dope. And I feel like people don't know, oh my gosh, the drive that it takes to keep going. And I feel like for you to have watched you pave a way for yourself hasn't been the easiest, but I know that you're not stopping. So I feel like sometimes, even though I don't know that you need to hear it, but it's deserved. And I feel like you influence so many. And even like with this book and what you put behind it and the fact that it's your real life and you had to live it and still living it is like, people don't understand the magnitude of what she's producing. Like, you might not get it at first, but just spend time. Like, invest. I tell everybody, like, don't wait for other people. If you want answers from the source, go to the source. Just invest. So I was like, I got to give this girl her flowers because she's dope as heck, man.
Thank
so I was
you.
like, definitely, I'm coming with some flowers.
And my other
Kevin,
flowers,
don't hate.
they're getting a little raggedy, so now I can replace them.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Absolutely, girl. Absolutely.
Now you got me all messed up.
It's
Because we're supposed to talk about you.
Oh, girl, no. Listen, it's never always just about, like, I understand that, but I thank you for sharing your stage because a lot of people want to be the center.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like the importance of it is the soil of the foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm all game for helping someone build up.
And no garden only has one flower. So.
Hello. Oop. Fancy? Yeah, I like that.
All right, so Sharonda and I could talk for hours about everything and inspire you, and you will have an amazing interview. So we'll have to bring you back and really have a deep dive on that because for now I want you to kind of give them your behind the scenes, your breakthrough moments.
Oh.
So I'm going to step into the questions.
Okay.
First part, I know you have a lot of inspirations, but what's something that inspired you to start on your entrepreneur journey?
I felt like being a Harford County native, it was things that I feel like we didn't have here that I saw people were liking, posting, and when I ran into people, they would mention something. So I said, hey, I think I can do that. I can bring that here. I think the hardest part was like, Harford County can be kind of cliquish.
Yes.
So the hardest part was like, how do I get this clique to be in the room with this clique and then it just be all good, you know what I mean? But luckily, I think out of respect for me and how I carry people and, integrity and respect, it never was an issue. So then it was just like, hey, you know what? I'm doing this. If it's something you want to do, you can support or not. And then it would. My thing is always like, if I just get two people, I'm good with that. But then it just kept going. So I was really fortunate for that. But just like, I want to see people happy. I want to see people, I like to watch people enjoy. It makes me happy to watch people enjoy and experience things. So that's why I was like, okay, cool, I can rock with it.
Yeah, and you do it very well.
Thank
and I
you.
think it speaks, I think for me, certain things that come naturally we kind of downgrade and act like it's not as important.
Yeah.
So you have this natural ability to, one, bring people together, to two, make them feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in being their authentic self.
Mm-hmm. That's so
And
important.
it's a superpower that you have, but it comes so easily for you that I don't know if you realize like the true value behind it, because a lot of people can't do that.
Okay.
And you can take control of a room without taking it from anyone,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
it's like you kind of
absolutely.
like walk into a room and everyone feels like they know you.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that control, but usually I feel like when people take control of a room, they take control and then they're like higher.
Yeah.
You never come off that way.
Right.
And I think it's like
Thank you
something
so
that I
much.
like truly admire about
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. I feel like we're here to really support each other. If we're not supporting, uplifting, what are we doing? Everything doesn't have to be about me. It's enough space
Oh yeah.
in this world for everyone's ego and everyone's purpose. And then I feel like I said, when I go into a room, it's always, how can I be of assistance? What do you need me to do? You do what you need to do, and just know that I'm back here and I got you. Just like I told you, like, girl, I'm gonna be working this room when this conference comes. Like, I'm gonna be talking, emceeing, just making sure everybody's good, because I feel like as people, even though we do pour our gifts into the world and to other people, it's so important, because I feel like everybody wants to be seen, heard, and felt.
Yep.
So I feel like by the time I meet someone, even in that, what they say, like that window moment, 5-minute window, 2-minute pitch or whatever, it's like, dang, when they walk up, they be like, I love Sharonda. And it's not like you do, you really don't, but just like, I can't wait to see her again. That's what I want to leave people with. Like, I can't wait to see this girl again.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's important.
I think the feeling you give someone about themselves is what keeps people attracted.
Yeah.
Because you have this ability to kind of have a conversation with someone. One, you really listen, which
Critical listener.
is
Girl,
not,
gets on my nerves.
but it's not something a lot of people do. And then on top of that, you have this way of almost like finding like that weak point that they have and encouraging them out of it. And it can be in a 5-minute conversation. And I think that value kind of just carries for people, where they're like, oh, I felt so good in that 5 minutes with Sharonda. I need some more of her in my life.
Yes.
So I love that about you. And
Thank you so much, girl.
I think I can't wait, because it's like you'll have a room full of women, and not that you're strange to that. Like you've been in plenty of rooms, but a new room full of new women and more people that you can touch and inspire. And I know the feedback is going to come back. Well, I had a second to talk to Sharonda. She came up to me, because you always go. You got. I don't know. I won't keep
It's okay. It's okay.
recycling
No, I
it.
appreciate
But
it
it's like
so
an
much.
awesome ability, because you kind of like, you read the room and you
Yeah.
figure out who needs you and you serve them.
Yeah.
And then once you're done serving them, you figure out who needs you next and you serve them. And it's like this servant leader mentality that just radiates through you. And I hope the world sees it as much as I do, because
I hope so too.
It's a
I hope
superpower.
so. I feel like we're never too high on our horse to come down.
Yes.
So sometimes you do have to come down. Like a king and a queen, they had to deal with the commoners, and they had to deal with them on their levels and their strengths. And I feel like it's our job to make everybody feel like we're next to them. Like, I don't gotta be. Of course, I feel like in my mind, to keep going, I am the exception, but I'm not exempt. So I always keep that in mind anywhere I go. Like, you're the exception, but you're not exempt. So you got to get in there.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So behind the breakthrough, let's get into a breakthrough moment. So I'm sure there's many, and I know you've taken in your personal life and your business life many leaps of faith, and you always landed 10 toes down. So what's a breakthrough moment that you've had? And it can be personal, it can be business, because I know.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with business, and it kind of, I guess it does go into personal. I remember when I was getting started with makeup and being here and being that I didn't see too many people doing it.
Right.
It was one person in particular, and she wasn't doing it for everybody. It was just herself. And I believe, like, I'm approachable, so I had asked her, and I said, hey, do you think you could just show me, like, some things or whatever? And she was like, oh, girl, just go by this, this, and this, right? So I felt like she didn't want to show me, but I don't think it was personal. I think it was because she never taught someone to do theirs. It was just like, I can do mine, this is what it is, whatever. So I remember that I had went and got all this stuff that she had said, but when I got home, I didn't know how to use it. I did not know how to use it. And I'm pretty sure, like, when I look back at my pictures, I'm like, okay, I thought it was popping. I wore it confidently because I did it. I was always proud of my work, but I had to master my craft. So what I did was, when I came here and I started to produce and I've sat and I've mastered, I feel like I bust a door down for women to do makeup here. And as much as it felt like excruciating for me because people talked about me, oh my gosh, they tore me to pieces, girl. Not to my face,
Of course
but
not.
they were like, yeah, they would come back around or whatever, and I would hear things. And it wasn't until I was probably, oh my gosh, this was like maybe 10 years later, I was sitting in another makeup artist chair, and she's younger than me, and she's like hitting the game right now, and she's like, you know, you inspired me so much. I tried to recreate a lot of your looks. And it was like, just in that moment, it was like, yes, like I thank you for this moment because you didn't have to tell me that. And then it just seemed like, not that everyone else knew at that time, a lot of women that does it now or started their own cosmetic company was like, I watched you. I watched you. And I tell everybody, learn from me. My mistakes, I'm transparent about them, like always. I want you to be better than me. Yeah. I don't need you to be like me. I don't need you to aspire to be like anybody. I need you to be better, and I need you to be and produce what you produce authentically. So that is just always my thing. But that definitely was a thing. Everybody kept telling me no. They didn't want to help me or they didn't know how. And I think maybe they thought I was intimidating. Like, I feel like everybody thinks I'm this like this big bad wolf, and I'm like, chill. I'm really like a compassionate person. Right. You know what I mean? But, you know, like you, like, to have that, you have to be here with me. You're not going to get it on the face of everything. It's surface. But, you know, I was really happy about that. And just to see in Harford County, I left my mark. And I'm okay with that. Now I'm ready to go conquer a bigger state and a bigger place. It's like Harford County was branding myself an introduction. So now it's the forward chapter of Virginia. Just how I can get myself acclimated and hit the ground.
You just like a good challenge.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, Harford County. I laid my mark. I'm here. Yes. You know what? I'm not just going to do Maryland. Let me just move to a whole nother state and let me make my mark here. And then I'm sure after Virginia, it'll be, oh, you know, I'm going to go on a countrywide tour. There. I'm going to go on a world. It like never stops. And I think that is, if I could name like one trait of entrepreneur, that's the importance of, that's the most important trait, because the conference, you know, I wrote a book. Okay, I can be done. I wrote a book. Success. Yay. We're all, you know, great.
An amazing book.
But I can't stop.
No.
So then it was like, okay, well, let's turn the book into a conference. Well, let's turn the book into a brand. Well, let's, and you're like very similar. And I think if people realize the trademark of entrepreneur is someone who doesn't quit and who just thrives off challenges. Because I think there's a difference between like thriving off a challenge or like jumping into like everything.
And I see that sometimes. And I think that people try to jump into what's trending impulsively because they think that's going to be their moment. We live in a world where everybody wants instant gratification, right? And to feel like you can't produce something in a week or a month of you doing it is just like, oh, this isn't working, I'm flustered. It can seem very excruciating. But that is the mindset that I'm trying to get people out of, because it's starting to spill into our realities. And we don't have time. It's no place for that in reality. You know what I mean? So, and it's just like, nah, it's hard work. Are you willing to get dirty? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you want to quit on Monday and maybe pick it up on Friday. But just know that that's not an uncommon thing, and you're not alone with that. But I think it's important to center yourself around like-minded people. Yeah. So I feel like with you, it's a lot of things that I'll be like thinking internally. And then I'll be like, I'm just going to stay. And I say, you be like, that's it. And I'm like, she feels me. She gets me. And it's just like staying around like-minded people. But I watch you thrive. I've even said to you, I know that y'all are here and I know that y'all love it here. But I feel like at some point, and I'm going to stick to that, you know, at some point I'm a visionary. He'll tell you. Like, I see what I see. Yeah. But while you're here, run it up. Run it up. Keep doing. Y'all are amazing. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're making this easy because you're like answering my question without me asking the question. But what would be one piece of advice that you wish someone had given you before you started?
Strangers will support you more than your friends. Strangers will support you more than your friends. Know your demographic. Know what you are catering to. Do not believe in market, what's it, oversaturated market. Like, I don't care what it is. And I feel like whatever it is, you got to go back to your why. You got to believe in yourself and know why you started and to keep pushing it. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to commit and support because you yourself said you're doing it. You will meet people that really don't know your vision, but they see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know. It was so many people along my journey of coming up with things that was like, I don't know what it is that you want to do, but I'll invest in it because they knew that I was an investment. And then I never took it because I was always scared. Like, they probably gonna want something back. I was always scared with that.
Yeah.
But I did everything myself. Don't be like me. And I feel like you cannot be the CEO, the worker, the cameraman, the singer. You can't be everything in your company. I feel like people take a big hit trying to be everything in their company. I feel like you have to trust people enough to build a team, and not people that you see sleeping on the couch are like, yeah, I'll come and I'll do it. You just don't want anybody. You don't want to produce junk or mess. So anything that you attach your name to, let it be because the qualities of you are in it. So I feel like somebody would have told me that because it took me years to figure that out.
That was a tough one for me because I think, especially with family,
Oh,
you think they're going to support
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky and had family support in a lot of things, but I've also had to really kind of reevaluate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of took like, okay, if I'm really close to you, then that means you should support everything and you should like everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had to redefine relationships. So, for example, like my mom, my best friend, we're together at least 4 days a week at a minimum.
Yeah.
And talk every day. She doesn't like entrepreneurship. It scares her. It drives her crazy. At 10 years in, she still wants me to get a real job. And for a while, I was offended by it. I was hurt by it. I'm like, why can't she just support me? Why can't she just love me? Why can't... And then I learned that, oh, it's none of that. It's a mindset that she has that I choose to respect because now I know where she's coming from. And we can still be best friends.
Yeah.
But when it comes to entrepreneurship, that's just not a topic that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what I'm doing. I share what I'm doing. But it's not like I had to separate those things. And I think once you're able to separate things out, you realize they're not being mean.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't understand it.
Absolutely.
And it took me years of being like, oh, well, if I had a job, they'd be more supportive. If I did this, they'd be more supportive. If I did this, well, if I was this person. And then it was like, Megan, they know you for a certain person. And that's the person you are for them. And this other person, you're like 30-something years old.
Yeah.
And like launching this new brand and
Yeah.
launching this new version of you, which is an accelerated, amazing person. But my mom still knows me as the 5-year-old little girl running around the yard.
Yeah, I get that.
So me learning that, I was like, okay, now I'm happy with, she doesn't have to come to a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. I feel like my mom would always tell me, like, Sharonda, you have the option to live at the house on the hill or at the bottom. And she always wanted to push me, but it pushed me like with things. She was like, I'm gonna get you this because you're gonna be the first to do that. I'm gonna get you this, you're gonna be the first. So my mom very much in between like middle school and high school and later, like she would always go get me stuff. Like she bought me a camera. And then when I had that little flair photography, she was like, and I want you to do a show with it where people come and see your work and they produce it, whatever, because you have an eye. And it was like, that was in the moment I found out about myself, like you start things and you don't finish it. But what would have happened if you would have stuck with everything that you started? And it was just like everything wasn't fulfilling. I had to learn purpose versus passion. So that's the thing in entrepreneurship too, because like you said, you see people doing everything because it's hot, and then they get back around to empty hands. So it's just like, that's a real thing too. So I had to be, that was a very dark moment for me. I was like, woo, crying tears, like, who are you and who does the world think you are?
Yeah.
And, you know, things like that. And it's just kind of scaling yourself. So once I got past that, I was like, well, this is who I am and I'm busting doors now. Like, I'm not about to sit and sob and be sorry. Like, I've made mistakes, but I want people to learn from my mistakes and I want to be able to just see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? See them like, dang, you really did it. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like with mothers, when I did everything, at first my mom was like, I don't know, you know what I mean? And then she would come around to come to a couple things, but because my mom had a fear of living outside of her box, and
Yep.
she produced this child that wanted to take on the world, she was like,
Yes.
no, don't, and I was like, it's okay, Mom, it's okay. She'd be like, you're okay. It would give her skyrocket her blood pressure.
You scared her.
Yeah, I did. And then once she finally figured out like this girl's not going to stop, she was on board. So I appreciate her for that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relationships, I think, and I don't even think I've mentioned the expecting, the people you expect to support won't, and the people you don't expect will, because I'm like meeting strangers and running into strangers, and they're reminding me of the person I am, because the people that I'm around most, they've known me for so long that they only know the person they knew. But I'm not that person anymore. There's still aspects of it. So it's like, oh, so if I keep staying around in the same circle or allow the same circle to have opinions on my business that they don't understand or respect, I'm going to keep feeling little. But you change and you realize you put yourself around people who, I never realized how many people respected me because people are scared to tell you they respect you.
Yes.
It's only through personal conversation.
Sometimes you can't see a giant when you're standing right next to it. You got to back
Right.
up some to really see the potential and the height and the bulk in it. So that's what I feel like you was this little thing that was like, oh yeah, hi, I'm Kevin's wife behind the scene. And then you hit this moment where you was like, you know what, I'm popping out and I'm flourishing and I'm not stopping. So I love that when you hit the scene, it went from being Megan Ewing, Kevin's wife, to I am Megan Ewing. I was like, she better go ahead, good, or whatever the case is. Like, step into your light because like I said, together you guys are a force, and I feel like separately you guys are like monumental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You offer and you do so much, and it's just amazing. And I just love the whole theme of like a creative family, a family of creatives. It's like the Incredibles. So I'm like, I love that. I love that,
We may have to figure out our own little superhero
it's
outfit.
something. I'm telling you, it's something there, and I think it's amazing. I just can't wait to see like how your kids progress and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, so one thing about Behind the Breakthrough is I don't want to talk about your topic at the conference.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of like give a little sneak peek. So
Okay.
there are a lot of tickets sold. There are still tickets available.
Yeah. Get those tickets. I'm telling y'all, don't wait for your friends. Don't wait for your homegirls. Husbands,
you wait.
get
They
your
will be
wives.
gone.
Get it locked in. And I feel like everybody's so like, do I have to already be? No, you don't already have to be. That is the beautiful thing. And that is like the diversity in her speakers. You have people that are thought about, already in, or already have mastered. So when you're getting something covered from beginning to end, that is like, what are you waiting for? Like, get your tickets ASAP. ASAP.
You kind of led into my next question.
Oh,
So,
again?
you make it easy.
Okay.
So I am not complaining. What can they expect to get from Sharonda? So you have a unique aspect of the conference. So when building the conference, I wasn't sure my role during the day, just because I have a strong vision of how everything's supposed to look, how everything's supposed to run, and I wasn't sure could I speak on top of making sure the conference ran and making sure my speakers were good, the attendees were good.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Sharonda because she is the MC, the host of Harford County. If you've been to events where you've spoke and where you've hosted, you bring this energy that really just controls the room in a way where everyone's like, this is the room I was meant to be in.
Yes.
And that I had to have you. So she gets to MC and she's going to speak, have her own segment to speak. And then we're like hosting, co-host, not host. So, that'll all kind of trickle down the day of. But with that kind of unique aspect of it, because no one else gets to do both, what can the attendees expect to leave learning from you?
Ooh, Let's see. First of all, I'm going to ignite y'all fire. Ignite the fire, okay? So you will leave fulfilled. You will leave feeling like you can conquer almost anything. Business, life, you have to have a strong center. I feel like that is the point of all. We got to find our centers and ground ourselves there. To understand that we thrive off connection. I don't think people understand how important that is. I know people are introverted, and sometimes I'm like introvert, extrovert, depends. But you have to understand, and I think something that Megan stresses, like, yes, we have speakers, but my goodness, who are you going to be sitting next to? Who is the who of the who you're going to be sitting next to?
Yep.
Does that not excite you? Because it's just like, who are you and what do you do? I do this and you do this. And I feel like when you are in this room, you're meant to be in this room. That's one thing I never worry about. Wherever you show up to meet your mark, you are meant to be there. So I feel like you're gonna leave like we dated. We're gonna be best friends by the time you leave. You're gonna be like, I know who, what, when, and I feel like it's so important for me to know that about you. Who's the who of the who I'm sitting next to or I'm in the room with. So I feel like it's gonna be an exchange of just power. It's gonna be an exchange of knowledge. It's gonna be an exchange of heartfelt moments because we know that this is not easy and this is what I'm centering myself in and projecting. So that is what I always look to do. So come on and come get some of this.
I love it.
Yeah.
So last part of the interview is I was trying to think of a polite way to put it, but basically, toot your own horn, talk your shit.
Toot toot.
So you have a lot of things going on, and the journey to get to where you're at now is like absolutely amazing. Where you kind of said you jumped into a few things, jumped out. I never look at that as a downfall. Because you were just exploring your passions to find out what your passion is.
Yes.
I've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've painted in restaurants. I've created
home decor. I'd be like, this girl, okay, we can go shopping. She did flip it on me. I said, oh my gosh, she get in there. Okay, Bob.
But at the end of it, you find your passion.
Absolutely.
And now that journey has brought you, and some people find it quickly. Some people, it takes longer than us.
Yeah.
But I love that you kind of like share it as kind of like, yeah, I jumped. And a lot of people do. But people don't want to talk about, well, I used to do this. I used to do this. Because I think we're like trained to be like, oh, well, that's a failure. And it's not a failure. You just didn't know what your passion was.
Yes.
So that leads into, what does 2024 have in store for Sharonda Hart?
Oh my gosh, speaking engagements. I want a room full of hundreds of people. I want to get on their level. I want to date the crowd. I want to, host like events and workshops. I feel like once my book comes, and the tone that is setting for the world, because it's something I feel like that was released in the world and a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. So what I did was when I sat down and I was grieving and I was depressed. And Megan, matter of fact, you were the first person I told, like, Megan, I feel like God's telling me to write a book. And he was like, okay, well, write it. And I was like, just like that? I'm not an author. I might be many things, but I'm not an author. And you said, no. You said, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. And I said, well, Megan thinks I can do it. And, I've watched her, and it was just how you kind of like popped out. I was like, yeah, I love everything that you stand for and you stand on. And the fact that you built this up without losing your integrity. That is so, I love people like that. I praise them. I do. I praise them. And I feel like you're not cutthroat. You don't cut people off. It's just like, I'm not going to do this behind, you know what I mean? And that's the world we live in. Entrepreneur or life in general, you know what I mean? And I feel like I had to go through a lot of things because it was never something I was really passionate about besides makeup. I was just good at those things. Yeah. So it was like, oh, I'm good here. I could stay here. And then it just got to a point where I felt like I was on a cycle, on a hamster wheel. Like I'm here, but I'm not producing. I'm not levitating. I'm not going up or whatever. And then it was like the other day, it hit me like, girl, you really like speaking. Like you really love I tingle. It makes me excited. And I'm just like, did you get that? Because I got that. Did you get it or whatever? And I feel like this is something that I'm so passionate about. So I feel like 2024 is really networking and it's connecting and it's traveling and it's just seeing where I feel called I feel like I have a lot of assignments, and once this book takes place and they see what's in it, because I feel like it was a lot of things people didn't know, and I become more of a being, a human being, not on a pedestal. It's just like, dang, like, girl, I'm here. So it's so cool because in the upcoming of it, and people just reading like the introduction or the page, the thank you page I made and everything, they were just like, I just want to tell you that, like, I'm so supportive. I stand behind you. I love everything you're doing. At first it was like, I don't know what this girl is doing, but then it all came together. Yeah. So I'm really grateful for that. And then sometimes too, like you said, when you're going through different things, I look back like, oh, this was shaping me up for this season. Yep. It's harvest season. I was planting seeds. Like, this was shaping me up for the season. So it's go time. It's go time, and I'm not stopping.
So you kept dropping in the book without like...
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can you give a month, a time frame that they can expect it?
Yes,
and where
April
they can
of
purchase?
2024.
Perfect.
And I told Megan, because this is my hometown and I'm a native here, I would love to have my book launch, the first one in Harford County. This is an exclusive. A Harford County book launch here at Harford Haven. I love this studio. I told Megan when I was in here, I came and I was so proud of her and Kevin. And I feel like this is where I'm going to come back to when I come home. One of many places. So y'all get ready for that.
So mark it on your calendar.
Yes.
We'll talk about it again at the conference to make sure everyone in the room knows.
Yes, we will.
Exactly where to be, exactly what the book is about, and we'll let you touch on that at the conference. Where can they find you? Social media, websites?
Yes. Okay, so on social media, on Facebook, I am Harden Sharonda. On Instagram, I am _biz. And those are the only two I have right now. I was working on, but I had to stop because I had a family incident happen. But so I'm getting around to like trying to put everything I do in one. Because I did have something. I was like, wait, it doesn't have this. So I took it down to rebuild it. So I'm definitely working on that. But definitely on Facebook, Harden Sharonda, and on Instagram, it would be _biz.
And you are currently accepting speaking engagements?
Yes,
So
I definitely am.
You have the Instagram, you have the Facebook. You can see the power just in this quick interview. Yes. You're going to see the power on March 16th. Yes. I keep wanting to say a stage, but I haven't committed to the stage yet. Okay. So on March 16th, you will see the power. So if you aren't encouraged to book her to speak at your events now,
book me.
March 16th, you'll know she's the right fit.
Yes, y'all come out, get y'all tickets. I'm telling you, come out, buy a ticket for a friend. Like, this is something that they need of 2024. What we're going into is going to require a powerhouse, and you need to be that on your own. So get those tickets.
Thank you.
You're welcome, girl.
So, thanks again for coming. Yes. She traveled from Virginia.
I did.
In between everything else in life. So, yes. I want to make sure that you know how grateful I am because you did not have to stop here to do this in between everything else.
I look forward to it.
On. So
it's important to me to be there for the people that I value.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I come front and center.
And we will see you March 16th, 8 o'clock, Harford Haven Studio.